The mistakes we have are things like we think that freedom and security are a trade-off. Most people think that. We've had it pounded into our heads that, well, yeah, it's nice to be free, but then something scary might happen and then you have to give up your freedom. And I think that is fundamentally not true. And I think the fact that we believe it is a sign that we've got freedom wrong. Most of the time, almost all of the time, if you can make yourself more free, you're making yourself more secure. And most of the time, almost all the time, if you can make yourself more secure, you're also making yourself more free. The two are not in any kind of natural clash, but we believe that they are. And for me, that's a sign that we've got freedom wrong. Or take freedom in government. Most Americans, I would say, going not just from the right, but all the way deep into the center and even pretty far into the left, would accept some version of the proposition that freedom and government are in tension, that government means less freedom. And again, I think that is pretty much completely wrong. Of course, there can be a bad government which takes away your freedom, but I would venture to say that it's impossible to be free as people without the right kind of government. If there's no government at all, which is the logical conclusion of this idea that freedom and government are in a clash, if there's no government at all, then, there'll just be an auction for everybody's organs before this evening is over. That's what no government at all would look like, right? There is no such thing as a free market. And so the name of the mistake, or the name that I'm not the first person to give to this mistake, is negative freedom. Negative freedom means that you believe you're free when the bad stuff has been pushed away, when there's no prison wall, when there's no oppressive government, when the war is over, when the occupation has come to an end. And of course, this is not false. You need the barriers to go away, but the reason you need the barriers to go away is because there's a you. The prison wall is not itself doing any harm, just standing there. The prison wall is a barrier only because it's a barrier to you, to the things you might become, to the things you might wish to be, to the things that you believe are important and might want to realize in the world. It's not the wall, it's the person behind the wall. Now, if we think that freedom is just negative, if we think that being free is just a matter of pushing things away from us, we end up making these mistakes and we end up making other mistakes. We'll start to think that, well, maybe a dysfunctional government is a good thing. But a dysfunctional government won't be able to deliver to you the very things you need in order to become a free person, like education or childcare, regulations in the workplace. If you think that government is a bad thing, if all you need to do is make government smaller, then you'll find that power abhors a vacuum. If you make the government small, the oligarchs will rush in, as they are doing in this country. There will be no vacuum of power. There will simply be informal, half-invisible powers who will perform in an unelected way and in a worse way the functions of government. But they'll do it in their own interests in a way that has nothing to do with you and is frankly often quite eccentric and weird, I've got to say. I mean, one of the things which was unpredicted by the science fiction of my youth was how stupid the oligarchs would be. Can you think of any, there are many predictions about the 21st century, but I think the dumb oligarchs was not one of them, right? No, come on. You're laughing, but you're not laughing hard enough. I mean, we're living in a country where, as soon as you hit $10 billion, you basically freak out. But you have so much money that everyone has to say, oh, yes, of course, Mr. Musk, we're going to go to Mars, right? Again, you're laughing, but not hard enough. You're laughing, but not hard enough. It's a serious problem when, I tell you it's serious, I tell you to laugh. I forgive you for not knowing where I'm going. But the issue is that if you just think that freedom is about holding government back, about getting rid of the barriers, other things rush in, and they will tell you that that's freedom, right? Because it's not about government. It's not about government. It's about something else. And so you've fallen for a trap. So, but the main thing, though, the main philosophical problem, personal problem, psychological problem with negative freedom is that it allows us not to answer the question of who we are. If freedom is just about something else being in the way, then we never have to ask ourselves the question, what would we like to be as free people? What does it mean positively to be free? If it's just me against some barrier, I never have to ask who I am, who I want to be, what do I value? And I think those questions are the ones that are at the center of freedom. So freedom is positive. Freedom is positive. It has to be positive. And I think the extreme examples bring this home to daily life. And one of the extreme examples, which is in the book and which I was thinking about just a few days ago, because I